The first thing, and this is not revolutionary, there's this whole sort of book around that says, like, start with the why, right? And so the first thing is to define the problem you were trying to solve, right? And think about why you're implementing data governance. If you have gotten on this call or you've gone out and explored data governance because someone told you it's something you have to do, right? Like, because it's the catchphrase or the buzzword, you're not going to, it's going to be hard to get off the ground. It's going to be hard to get started. So you want to think about how you're going to measure the success of this. What is the return on the investment? what's the problems that you're trying to solve by implementing governance, right? Because governance is not something you do for the sake of governance. You do it to make your use of data better at your campus. So some of the things that might be, I like this example. Here's Bill. We met him. He's a report writer, and Marcy, she's one of the data stewards. And they're talking to the boss man, and the boss says, how many employees do we have in that department? And Bill says, I got this beautiful chart. There's 42 in that department. And Marcy says, I have 38, right? And the consequence of that is that the boss is going to say, forget it, never mind. And so this is a common problem that governance can help. So, like, when you think about, like, what are the problems? Why are you doing this? Like, are you having people who are not trusting and using your data, right? So the fact that these two numbers are different, even though maybe the difference of 4 employees would have no impact on what decision he was trying to make, but the fact that they're different undermines the credibility and makes there no decision, right? Or another situation, he asked Bill, how many new students do we have enrolled for the next term as of today? And Bill says, we have 356 right now. And then he thinks to himself, that's weird, that's odd. I could swear we had 500 when I checked last week, right? So now we have, not that there's 2 people who've told him that there's different numbers, it's just that his own assumptions around what that number should be isn't right. So it's sort of what Bill is telling them doesn't pass the smell test in his mind for what it should be, right? And that is likely because they have a difference of definitions or context or perspective for what they're asking, and they're not communicating well, and there's no transparency to why Bill said, what is this 356 items, right? So the result of that, again, is forget it, never mind. So you get this where the heck do these numbers come from use case, right? And this is one of the biggest and most straightforward problems to talk about in terms of how governance can help, is that there's no trust and understanding and therefore use of the data. So that lack of trust leads to lack of ability to understand, to make a decision and then action, right? Let's think about some other reasons. So lack of trust is a big one that might be leading you towards an issue, the data governance and solving the trust problem you feel could really help. Another one is that you want to have better self-service reporting or people able to to better understand your data or your system. So having better access to that information, people want to be able to do and more accurately do their own reporting. You may be looking at compliance issues. So that an auditor has come through and said that you need to track your lineage, or that you're having trouble with a regulatory report that you're submitting to understanding and defining how that thing is happening, or just the compliance and audits say that you have to have more information about your data. It might be that you're looking at GDPR, right? You have to understand, do we have who are the people in our system who we need to understand are data subjects of the general data privacy regulation. I might be getting the name of that wrong, of the EU, and how do we determine that, and how do we know whether or not, where their data is coming from, and whether or not we have data sharing agreements and lawful basis for the use of the data, and all those kinds of things GDPR might be pushing. It might also be that you're trying to, just generally avoid, either a data breach or, badly reported data such that you end up on the news, right? Like, no one wants to have that happen. So just managing your data more effectively. So these are some of the things that could lead to data governance. So you think about the why are you doing this? And there's a bunch of other things that could be. So that's a good place to start. and you let those why questions, if it's about people better using their data, if it's about trust, if it's about tracking things for compliance, or better accuracy, or cleaning data quality, whatever it might be, that will help set the data governance goals and priorities based on the problem, and not be the tail wagging the dog, right?